A very good morning to all of you who have joined us today for this PG Education National Webinar. Welcome to National Webinar on Postgraduate Education in Homeopathy by Homeopathic Science Congress Society and Homeopathy 360, supported by CCRH and all PG homeopathy institutions in India. Welcome to the webinar day 1 today. And I feel privileged enough to be a part of this event, as well as grateful to introduce you to the coordinator as well as the organizing secretary of this webinar. But before I begin, I just want to thank a few people who have been behind this webinar series. Dr. M.K. Sahani sir, Mr. Manish Jain, the director of BJN Publishers, Dr. Amit Sahani sir, Dr. Sanjeev Kumar Singh sir, and Dr. Vivek Kumar Shail sir, and all the chairpersons and co-chairpersons, as well as the speakers who will be joining us today, as well as for the upcoming 7 days of this webinar series. I hope everybody is excited to explore and pave the path for homeopathy, a new path which we are trying through this webinar series on graduate education, as well as guide everybody about the research point of view and the utility and the evidence-based medicine. How is it important for the homeopathic fraternity, as well as the research methodology and biostatistics, specially designed for PG students and UG students, as well as the practitioners who are practicing. So welcome to today's webinar. And now I think on behalf of Homeopathy 360, I just want to thank everybody and thank Dr. Sahani sir for giving us opportunity. The Homeopathy 360, the platform which is trying their level best to promote homeopathy through various purposes, as well as papers and evidences through on the website, as well as latest updates on homeopathy. So we are grateful to the whole team of this series who have made us a part, and thank you so much. Now I think I should hand over the session to our Dr. Amit Sahani sir. He is the assistant professor in the Department of Repertory and born in an illustrious family of Dr. B. Sahani sir from Bihar. He graduated in homeopathy from the prestigious National Institute of Homeopathy and has completed his PG in repertory from GD Memorial Homeopathic Medical College and Hospital. And later on, he did his PhD from MK Bhavnagar University. He is the author of Conspectus, a widely followed book by PG students. He has also presented various seminars on various international and national level, as well as author of various publications in various reputed journals. So we are glad that he is the coordinator of this day 1. So I hand over the session to you, sir. Over to you. Dr. Sahani sir. Amit Sahani sir. Dr. Sahani sir, are you with us?
Thank you, Dr. Jessica. Good morning, everyone. Respected Dr. Ramji Singh sir, Dr. Mansoor Ali, Dr. Alok Misra, and all the participants in this webinar. Thank you, Dr. Jessica, for the support, and Mr. Manish Jain, Director BJN Publishers, for patronizing this event. I welcome you all. Dr. Anil Khurana sir, he could not join us today because of some personal commitments, but he has blessed us with his message. I welcome all of you to this 1-week PG workshop with the theme of exploring and paving path for homeopathy. National webinar on postgraduate education in homeopathy, organized by Homeopathic Science Congress Society and Homeopathy 360, and supported by Central Council for Research in Homeopathy and all the PG colleges of India. Homeopathy education has elevated from the postgraduate level today, and understanding the importance of evidence-based medicine is the essence of study for our PG scholars. Evidence-based medicine aims to access the strength of the proof behind the medical interventions in terms of risks and benefits, and therefore can be used to inform clinical decision making on both an individual and a population basis. Implementing the principles of evidence-based medicine, which relies on the rule of evidence and research, requires a commitment from us, and this involves introducing these principles at the very core of our curriculum. Evidence-based medicine in homeopathy involves the justification of the patient as an individual who are suffering from the disease. With this approach, Central Council of Homeopathy had introduced the subjects of research methodology, biostatistics, and advanced fundamentals of homeopathy in the syllabus of the first year for proper foundation of aptitude of research in PG Scholar. We are honored today to have with us Dr. Ramji Singh sir, who has been the president of Central Council of Homeopathy for 2 consecutive terms. Sir has always stressed upon the need of quality education, and under his guidance, PG education has become standardized and incorporated education technology. It's an honor for me to introduce Dr. Ramji Singh sir, President, the Homeopathic Medical Association of India, President, Homeopathic Science Congress Society, Chairman, GD Memorial Homeopathic Medical College and Hospital. Sir has been very instrumental in introducing the MD Home course. Sir is also the co-author of a well-read book, Homeopathic Education Technology, which asserts the importance of incorporation of technology for better teaching. I welcome you, sir, once again, and I request you to say a few words on this occasion, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Amit ji. Good morning, everybody. I welcome all of you to this 1 week PG workshop with the themes of exploring and paving path for homeopathy, national webinar on postgraduate education in homeopathy, organized by Homeopathy Science Congress Society and Homeopathy 360, and supported by Central Council for Research in Homeopathy and all PG colleges of India. Research has influenced the education field more than any other sphere of life. It is high time that educationists respond to the changing needs and integrate research methodology in an appropriate manner into teaching learning process. Concern for system for homeopathy has been realized from the beginning, and constant efforts were made to make it a most valid and effective. Even before the enactment of homeopathic regulation in India, homeopathic colleges were engaged in imparting homeopathic education in the traditional way. With the recognition of homeopathy and establishment of Central Council of Homeopathy, homeopathic education found a concerned path to get more and more systematized, continuously work towards making curriculum and framing minimum standard of education for homeopathic colleges, besides keeping a watch to get them implemented in uniform way throughout the country. Effective teaching in homeopathic medicine requires flexibility, energy, and commitment. A busy background of clinical care, successful medical teaching also requires that teachers are able to address learner needs and understand the variation in learner's style and approaches. Teacher can accomplish these requirements while creating an optimal teaching learning environment by utilizing a variety of teaching methods and teaching styles. If teacher use a variety of teaching method and styles, learners are exposed to both familiar and unfamiliar way of learning, which provides both comfort and tension during the process, ultimately giving learners multiple ways to excel. It is required to make homeopathic education system more clinical oriented. For this, it has to be ready for adoption of aspect of research methodology and more suited and adaptable for homeopathic education environment. Faculty member and homeopathic medicine student. I hope this week-long event will help the PG scholar in improve on their research aptitude, because this is the need for the hour. I wish you all the best of this event. Thank you, sir. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. You are always a guardian for us, and we'll see you as an inspiration. And we always look forward to you for your guidance and blessings. You have been very instrumental for the introduction of this MD Home course at the level of Central Council of Homeopathy, and now the standardization of education has been a great achievement for you. We thank you, sir, for everything that you have done for the homeopathic education.
Thank you.
Now we move on, and this webinar aims to form the proper understanding of the subjects in a candidate for a degree of MD. We are grateful to Dr. Anil Khurana, Director General, Central Council for Research in Homeopathy, and Chairman, BOG, Central Council of Homeopathy, and his team, who have consented to give technical support to this program. Dr. Khurana sir could not attend the inaugural ceremony today because of some personal commitments. I have a message from Dr. Khurana sir, and I will read it out for all of us. So this is the message from Dr. Khurana. I am happy to note that Homeopathy Science Congress Society is organizing national webinar on postgraduate education in homeopathy on 21st September 2020. CCRH has always been supportive of the dedicated efforts of the organizers for the development of homeopathy and is also providing technical supports to such webinars. I am sure large number of PG students from across the country attend this webinar, which is also supported by Homeopathy 360 and all PG homeopathic institutions. The chosen theme, exploring and paving path of homeopathy, reflects thoughtfulness of the organizers in understanding the need of capacity building of PG students. I am also glad to note that very relevant and pertinent topics of effective literature review and writing research proposal will be deliberated upon during the webinar, and this will be an ideal platform for learning and exchange of expertise. My best wishes to the organizers, and I hope the webinar proves to be an enriching experience to all the participants. So that was the letter that Dr. Khurana has provided us as a blessing to this seminar. Thank you, Dr. Khurana sir. Now, I invite all our speakers, Dr. Alok Misra sir and all the speakers today, they are excellent in their own field, and we expect that this week will be a learning experience for all of us. I introduce Dr. Alok Misra. He will talk on the utility of observations in homeopathic prescribing. Dr. Alok is the honorary physician to His Excellency, the Governor of West Bengal, Assistant Professor, Organon of Medicine in Mahesh Bhattacharya Homeopathic Medical College and Hospital in West Bengal, and he is also the former scientist 1 at Central Council for Research in Homeopathy. I request you, Dr. Alok, to kindly take over and start your session.
Thank you, sir. Welcome to Ramji Singh, sir. We are glad to have you on the same platform. Today, my speaking will be on the
Sir, you can just hide that pop-up. Your PPT is visible. Please open your presentation and just click on the hide. Yes, sir. It's fine. You can do the full screen option.
Yashika, is it visible?
Yes, sir. Absolutely clear.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Absolutely visible.
Okay, Yashika, thank you. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. Being too young, this is my privilege to open up this session. I am the opening batsman of this session of this week-long webinar. I feel myself to be very much privileged. At the same time, I am a little bit anxious also that being so young, I have to open up this big event and a big session. Where we have with us Dr. Ramji Singh sir, who has been mentor to the tons of homeopaths all over India. Thank you, sir, for being here. Today, my topic would be objective symptoms. But before we start our objective symptoms, at this outset, every time I feel very much privileged to thank BJAN Publications. I think BJAN publication is the hardware of homeopathy in India. If they would not have been there, it would have been a very difficult time for homeopathy in India to flourish. If homeopathy flourishes in India, every time I repeat the same sentence, BJAN publications are the backbone of India, homeopathy in India, and they have provided us the hardware, systemic hardware. And now this is the onus lies on the teachers like us and the researchers and the clinicians now to convert this hardware, to put the software into this hardware so that it runs smoothly for the younger generations of homeopathy. So it is the onus on us, the clinician, on us, the teachers and the researchers, to make this field more smooth, more worthy, and more workable. We have to create a software in terms of teaching, in the terms of clinical learning, in the terms of research methodology, so that the coming generations find it a good field to work upon. With this, I find homeopathy is one of the most fertile land to work with, because whenever, wherever, it is very, very yielding. You will find every homeopathic principle, some work on constitution, some work on mental, some works on sensation, but everybody flourishes. Everybody is flourishing all over India. So I feel it to be a very, 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 very novice field, a field which is very fertile, a field which has a high yielding capacity. The only thing is that we have to sow some seeds into it with a little bit effort, and the outcome is many times more than the input that we get. So homeopathy, for me, this is my 21st year in homeopathy, and in this 21 years of homeopathic fraternity, I have found that this is one of the most fertile and high yielding field in all the professional curriculums all over the world. This is my finding in 21 years. So with this finding, I would like to inculcate one topic which has been flourishing for years together, which is that non-verbal communication of the patient. There are two types of communication that we have with the patient. One is when patient is communicating himself, when patient is narrating his symptoms to us, when patient is giving his difficulties, his problems to the physician. On the other hand, there is the other part of the communication which is called as non-verbal communication, meaning thereby patient is not communicating through his vocal speech through us anything. He is not giving any words to his problem, but we have to observe them. We as a physician have to find those symptoms, those non-verbal symptoms, which are there in the body language, which is there in his expression, which is there in his any part of the body, his teeth, his lips, his tongues, his eyes, his ears, his face, his hair, his body language, his height, his weight, his physique, everything, the way he talks, the way he moves, the way he sits, the way he explains his symptoms, all these are non-verbal communication, and they are one of the things which are presented to the physician in most unadulterated form. I use the word unadulterated form. If we use these objective symptoms for the purpose of our prescription, these are one of the most unadulterated symptoms, because unknowingly patient is giving these symptoms. He cannot modify these symptoms. He cannot change the symptoms. Whether he is an hypochondriac or he is a modest patient, he is hypochondriac, even then these objective symptoms will be well featured on his all expressions. If he is modest patient, even then it is manifested. So these are one of the symptoms which are the most reliable, which are most unadulterated. Only thing is that we have to brush up our eyes, we have to brush up our observation, we have to brush up our learning in a way that we are able to understand the symptoms when it is presented by the patient. We have learned the materia medica, we have learned the Ellen's note by heart, but we sometimes drastically fail to interpret them in the language of the patient. We drastically fail sometimes, especially the novice homeopath who has just graduated from some college. He finds it really difficult to interpret those symptoms into the language of the patient. So the hardware, the book has been given by the Bijan publication. He has made the Ellen's note readily available at just the meager price of 50 rupees to us. But it's the onus lies on us to transform that Ellen's note, the 50 rupees Ellen's note, into 1 crore book. It can be converted. I remember when I was in my UG graduation, I remember my teacher, Dr. SM Singh, he never used to tell symptoms that it is 3 plus 2 plus 1 plus symptom. He used to say कि ये 1 lakh का symptom, ये 10 lakh का symptom. His way of classifying symptom, his way of giving weightage to the symptom was in the terms of money. He used to say ये 10 lakh का symptom दे रहा हूँ, ये 5 lakh का symptom दे रहा हूँ. So if we declassify those symptoms of Ellen's note into the language of patient, I'm sure that 50 rupees books will be converted into not less than 1 crore of rupees. So now the onus lies on us. Again and again I repeat that it is us who have to convert that book into the actual clinical practical guide that every novice homeopath can interpret, can find it in his own patient. With this, I will start my deliberation. This is my very humble submission. I may be wrong, I may be right. This is what I have tried. I'm trying to give only very small things, simple things, things which will be seen every day in our clinical practice. Every day, every patient, we will be able to get these symptoms. I'm only trying to declassify Ellen's note. I'll not read out very big books like Dramatica Pura or Herring Symptom or P.F. Ellen's Encyclopedia or Richard Hughes' Encyclopedia of Duct Pathogenesis. No, I'm just concentrating on Ellen's note because this is the book which always remains handy with all the prescribers, with all the students, with all the clinicians. So I will start. I will give only small points. I'll never give a big, large, huge, troublesome points. I'll try to give only small, meager, very simple things which I have deciphered in my 21 years of journey in homeopathy. So from where my journey began. This is one picture I always used to start with my journey. This is when I joined NIH. My teacher, Dr. Somin Adhikari sir, this was for the first time when I visualized what does the decay at the root mean. Decay at the root of teeth that is written in Thuja of Ellen's note, what does it actually mean? This was for the first time when I first saw this Thuja actually. Otherwise, for MCQ purpose and for all competitive examination and for other passing graduations, we were there to learn. Every student of homeopathy must be remembering this. The teeth decay at the root. That is very easy to learn, but it's a little bit, it requires the eye setting. We have to set our eyes. The same teacher, my Dr. Somendra Adhikari sir, used to tell what mind doesn't know, I cannot see. The eye can see only things which our mind knows. So we have to start observing these small things. So this was the first picture from where my journey began. That what do we actually mean by that root decay, teeth decay at the root. And from there it's still I'm trying to learn. And what I have found that Aristotle's one liner, he said that ars longa vita brevis, that art is long, life is short. That in the last so many years, I think that I'm not able to yet learn 0.1% of homeopathy that is required. But I'm happy that yes, I'm trying to learn, and I'm sure till my last breath I'll be able to read at least, I'll able to learn at least 1 to 2% of homeopathy. If I am able to, I'll be more than happy to learn 1 to 2% of homeopathy that is written there. So ars longa vita brevis. With this, I'll start. So I'll give some small topics. I'll start with the different types of cracks that we actually find in our clinical practice. Please be assured that all the pictures that I have taken are my pictures of my patients from my clinical practice, from my OPDs, from my IPDs, from anywhere. That is all pictures that have been taken by me. I truly authorize these pictures. So with this, one by one, different types of cracks that we do find in our clinical practice. So this is one type of crack, that is the deep central crack. We find that the tongue has been divided into two parts. A central furrow divides the tongue into two parts. This symptoms we do find in, actually these are the we cannot call them hallmark, but it is very characteristic of nitric acid, Merxol, Miserium, syphilinum. All in all, this is a great syphilitic symptoms. Deep central crack in the tongue. We do get the medicine is nitric acid, mercurius, Miserium, and syphilinum. There may be many more, but this is the characteristic of these medicine. Deep central crack. You can, if you find this deep central crack in the tongue, deep central, but that should be characteristic. That should be well marked. Only then we can rely upon them. That should be deep central, deep furrow. Next, if we move on to, this is one symptom that was that I learned from my teacher, one of my most reverend teachers, Dr. L.M. Khan sir, from National Institute of Homeopathy. When I was there doing my post-graduation in Organon of Medicine, I learned the symptom from Dr. L.M. Khan sir. I owe it to him. You can see the parallel crack on the tongue. If you can see the parallel crack on the tongue. If you can see, there is a two parallel cracks running side by side. If you can see in both the tongues, two parallel cracks running side by side. This is the hallmark of syphilinum. Please, I again repeat, this is the hallmark of syphilinum. If we find two parallel cracks on the tongue, in the middle of tongue, two cracks running side by side, this is the hallmark of syphilinum. This is the case. If there is a hyperlink case of this patient, this was a patient was of lichen planus, so far I remember. See, this was the patient. This is the tongue of this patient who is having these black moles, lichen planus like symptom. After prescription of syphilinum, you can find this was the on the left leg, it totally disappeared, and on the right it's also diminished after prescription of syphilinum on this symptom, that there was parallel crack on the tongue. This is the hallmark of syphilinum. We will not find the symptom in Allen's note, but we will find this in synthesis repertory as well. This is the symptom that has been taken from herring-guiding symptom actually. But I don't know herring-guiding symptom. I know my teacher L.M. Khan. He told me the symptom, and I have verified it more than 100 times. I have verified in my clinical practice. Next, we move on to this, again a very gem of the symptoms. If you can see the horizontal lines, if you can see the horizontal line, If you can see the horizontal lines on the tongue, if you can see this horizontal lines, horizontal crack. Till now we have seen the vertical crack, single vertical crack or parallel crack. Now we are moving to this horizontal line. If we are moving to horizontal line, horizontal across the tongue, there is cracks across the tongue. There are two medicines, cobaltum and lachesis. Cobaltum, this we will find in Kent's repertory. Cobaltum and lachesis, whenever we find this horizontal crack on the tongue, a tongue which is dividing the tongue in across from side to side, this is called as cracks, horizontal cracks or cracks across the tongue. This is the hallmark of lachesis as well as cobaltum. But we have to remember that lachesis is a medicine which is ameliorated by discharges, whereas cobaltum is a medicine which is aggravated by discharges. So this is the fine differentiation between cobaltum and lachesis. Next, if we move, the multidirectional cracks, the cracks which are found in all possible directions on the tongue. If you can see, the cracks are available in all the possible directions, straight, across, horizontal, whatever, all possible direction. Crack is there in all possible directions of the tongue. This is the symptom of fluoric acid and nitric acid. Symptoms, whatever symptoms is being narrated here, have been verified several times in clinical practice. These are the symptoms of fluoric acid and nitric acid when we get multi-directional cracks on the tongue. Again, this is again one of the gem of symptoms which belongs to lachesis. It says, if you can see, there is crack only on the tip of the tongue. Elsewhere, rest of this tongue is devoid of any crack. The rest of the tongue is smooth. It is no cracks, but you can find cracks only on the tip of tongue. The cracks are available only on the tip of the tongue. This is lachesis, and you can find single medicine symptom, single medicine rubric in Kent's repertory. A single medicine rubric in Kent's repertory that. It is available on the tip of the tongue. Not very usual tongue. We don't find it very usually, but whenever we find lachesis, do works. Lachesis do works. There is one more tongue. If we find cracks only on the side of the tongue, there is one medicine that is nux vomica. It is again the Kent's repertory. Now the next tongue, if we can see, this is the tongue where there is net-like appearance. The whole tongue is net-like appearance, like the fish net. If you can see, the whole tongue is as if there is a fish net laid down on the tongue. This is the symptom of natremure. This is not mentioned anywhere in the literature. This is the symptoms that I have verified and I have developed clinically. This is the clinical symptom of natremure, and repeatedly this symptom has been verified by me and my many of the colleagues to whom I have told them. So this is the tongue of natremure when there is net-like appearance on the tongue. This is natremure. See, again, this is not very common tongue, but definitely a very rare of the tongue. But whenever we find, if you can see, the tongue is bifid, like the what you can see, the snake's bifid tongue. Similarly, we can find the bifid tongue of the patient. If we find, this is again a symptom of lachesis, bifid tongue. If we now move on the different types of coatings that we do find on tongue, again a very usual. Please make it a point to see this tongue, the features of the tongue, because it reflects the characteristic of the whole body. And one of the most important determining factor for the prescription of medicine is tongue. This is the first tongue with which I will start with. This is the milky white coating on the tongue. This is milky white coating on the tongue. If we see the thick milky white tongue, if you can see the tongue of this patient, It seems as if it has been whitewashed. It has been whitewashed. See the thickness of the coating in this picture. This is the symptom of antimonium crudum. The tongue is white as if it is painted. Tongue white as if it is painted. So this is the picture of antimonium crudum. Please, whenever we are teaching materia medica, whenever we are teaching repertory, whenever we are teaching practice of medicine, please make it a point. We have to make it a point so that we have to make their eyes accustomed to it. The students' eyes should be accustomed. What is that milky white coating on the tongue? If the patient has not seen it, he won't be able to recognize it when he is sitting in his OPDs or in his clinical practice. So please make it a point. Please make it a point to make your students learn what is actual milky white coating on the tongue. There are many shade cards for this. If you can see, there is again a white coating, grayish white or white coating on the tongue, but it is only located on the posterior part of the tongue. If you can see, this is only located on the posterior part of the tongue. This is the tongue of Calimere. We have learned in Elinsky note that posterior grayish white coating on the posterior part of tongue. This is the tongue of Calimere. Please make it a point. All the discharges of Calimere, all the coatings of Calimere are grayish white or dirty white. Whether it is a ear discharge, CSOM, whether it is tongue coating, whether there is any ulceration, whether there is any pus discharge, whatever is there, white, grayish white or white is the color code of Calimere. This is the color code of Calimere, starting from white to grayish white or dirty white. This is the shade code. This is the color shade of Calimere, hallmark of Calimere. And when we are restricting ourselves to the tongue part, this dirty white coating or white coating is present on the posterior part of the tongue. Next, this is one of the most widely found tongue in a medicine which is always prescribed in the presence of this tongue symptom, and this is natrum sulph. Natrum sulph is one such medicine which covers such a wide range of tongue symptoms that we have to remember it. It's starting from greenish yellow up to lemon yellow. If you can see this one picture, this is greenish yellow, this is lemonish yellow, this is light yellow. Starting from light yellow, lemon yellow, greenish yellow, and up to military green, dirtiest of the dirty tongue. Dirtiest of the dirty tongue, if we get it, is of natrum sulph. It's starting from yellow to the greenish yellow, or even sometimes military yellow. This is a tongue of natrum sulph. This is the extreme range of natrum sulph, where we get the dirtiest of the dirty tongue, that is military green coating, military greenish yellow coating on the tongue. This is again natrum sulph. So one of the most widest coverage of natrum sulph is when there is coating, that greenish yellow coating on the tongue. We do have to remember natrum sulph. We cannot forget. But on the sidelines, we also have to consider about pulsatilla, and there are so many other medicines also. But natrum sulph wins over all other if it is not anyhow contraindicated by any other symptoms. So this is natrum sulph. Next, if we move on to this golden yellow. If you can see, it seems as if the tongue has been gold plated. It is not only yellow, it is golden yellow, gold plated. And if we remember Elinsky note, Mark bin Ayor, in relation within bracket of Mark bin Ayor, it is written golden yellow coating on the tongue. It is natrum phos. If we remember that golden yellow coating, I remember this old man. This was somewhere around 70 plus, and when he came to my OPD, his fasting sugar level was somewhere around 360 or somewhere around that. And after prescription of natrum phos 0/1, His range was quite in a comfortable, and in not somewhere around 150 or 140. In that range, his fasting sugar was after prescription of natrum phos. So natrum phos, that golden yellow coating, on the tongue is natrum phos. Golden yellow. Please do remember these, the different type of tongue. This is yellowish. There is no golden part here. Dirty yellow. But if you get this golden yellow, that golden tinge in it, then it is natrum phos. Next, if you can see this tongue. If those who remember Helensky note, because I have promised in the beginning that I'll try to restrict myself to Helensky note. Again, that line of Mark bin Iod, if we remember, in Mark bin Iod it is written yellowish coating at the base of tongue. Within bracket, the first thing that is written is calibichromicum. If we remember, calibichromicum. So in this patient, if we zoom this image, if all the audience, if they are able to see, I'll try to zoom this image. See, I have zoomed this image, and if we can see the strings of saliva, in this picture, if you can please see the strings of saliva in this picture with yellow coating at the base of tongue, and if you remember this line of Helensky note under Mark bin Iod, tongue thick yellow coating at the base, and the first medicine written in bracket is calibi, following which we had that natrum phos, golden yellow, and there is natrum sulf. So we have completed this line of Mark bin Iod. The shade card of tongue, yellow coating on the tongue. So we have to learn Helensky note, definitely. We have to memorize Helensky note, definitely. But we have to recognize Helensky note. This is the duty of the physician. This is the duty of the clinician. This is the duty of the researcher, and this is the duty of the teacher to make his student recognize Helensky note. We have seen through this journey how to memorize it, how to mug it up, how to learn it by heart. But now it is our duty to make our student recognize the Helensky note. I am on my journey. I have collection of more than 10,000 symptoms. I have collection of more than 10,000 pictures from Helensky note. I am trying to complete it. I am trying to complete the whole Helensky note, objective symptoms of Helensky note, and to publish it in a book form. And I am looking forward to BJAN publication. That somewhere in the near future we'll be publishing a picturesque view of Helensky note, and I will request others also to participate and to put up their efforts to complete this huge task of producing a picturesque view of Helensky note. I am trying my level best. I have more than collection of 10,000 pictures, actual pictures of the patient, how each symptoms present to us, and I'm trying my level best to complete it in the near future. And whenever it will be completed, it will be handed over to the profession. So this is the calibi tongue with this yellow coating of the tongue and this stringy discharge. This is calibichromicum. Next, this is again the gem of the symptom, and I owe this symptom again to Dr. Mahendra Singh sir, the teachers of the teacher, Dr. Mahendra Singh sir, and he told me the symptom about the central clean. If you see, the central portion of the tongue is clean and the side is coated. This is, I cannot tell if I call this symptom in the language of my teacher, Dr. SM Singh sir, I will say this single symptom worth rupees more than 10 lakhs. If I grade this symptom, if I do the gradation in the terms of my teacher, Dr. SM Singh, I will call this symptom worth rupees 10 lakhs. Because I haven't seen this symptom failing. And this is the hallmark, this is the characteristic of causticum. That center of the tongue clean and side coated. I have used it more than 200, 300 times. There is one case, I think. This is the lady of, who had a gallbladder stone. And with this, you can also see there is multitudes of moles also. This is the 11 mm cholesterol stone is present, and after prescription of causticum in zero potency, you can see after a lapse of 5 to 6 months, the gallbladder shows clean gallbladder, no stone, and it has been clean. It has been clean gallbladder stone by prescription of just causticum, by prescription of just causticum. So this is, I cannot narrate this symptom, and I cannot thank Dr. Mahendra Singh sir for giving me this symptom. I cannot thank him enough for this symptom, because I have treated more than 200 to 300 patients on the symptoms with causticum, and with wonderful result. With wonderful result, I have treated so many patients of causticum with this concept. And the symptom is, if you can see the center portion of the tongue, if you can see the center portion of the tongue is clean, whereas the side is coated. If you can see here also, the center portion is clean and the side is coated. Next, if we move on to this strawberry tongue. If you can see these tongue, it actually seems as if the strawberry has been put here. This is the tongue of my daughter. She was suffering from a severe tonsillitis with some ear complaint. I don't remember, 3 to 4 years ago, and she was given here basilinum. She was prescribed here, and this is the strawberry tongue. If you can see, basilinum, belladonna, tuberculinum. These are the actual medicines which are prescribed for this strawberry tongue. The strawberry tongue of belladonna, basilinum, and tuberculinum. It is written in Ellen's note. If you see the last portion of Ellen's note where nosodes are written, under belladonna you will find, sorry, not under belladonna, under basilinum we will find that strawberry tongue. So this is the strawberry tongue of basilinum, belladonna, and tuberculinum. Next, we move on to the medicine which has elevated papillae. If you can see, the papillae here are elevated. It are showing itself. There are so many medicines. Starting from arsenic, phytolacca, rustox, sulfur, argentum nitricum, and many phytolacca, which have this raised papillae at the tip, and they can be prescribed as per the symptomatology which is there. Now, if you can see, this is again one of the very characteristic symptom and a very characteristic part of Bonninghausen's. He gave this symptom to the profession, and if you can see the tongue, all the 4 tongues are coated only unilaterally. The tongues are coated only on one side of the tongue, whereas the other half of the tongue is clean. Only one half of the tongue is coated, the other half is clean. And we find this symptom in Deafenae, Rustox, Miserium, Pulsatilla. I have used all these 4 medicines in this different types of one-sided coating. Please, this is not, I have not found these pictures from Jupiter or any other planet. These are all from the clinical experience, and we do get these symptoms. The only point that we have to make our vision we have to make it clear. We have to keep it in our vision that these are the symptoms that we can get. So we do get these symptoms, that one-sided coated. We also get it in Pulsatilla, Miserium, Deafenae, Rustox. Even Pulsatilla, this one-sided symptomatology is very marked of Pulsatilla. Not only one-sided coating, but one-sided sweating is also prominent in Pulsatilla. Any symptom which is one-sided is very much marked of Pulsatilla. And there is Miserium, Deafenae, Rustox, and so many patients with this symptom. Please do use this one-sided coating. If you can see the tongue, if you can see characteristically, tongue is coated only on one half If you can see, the tongue is coated only on one half. If you can see, tongue is coated one half again. So this is one-sided coating with pulsatile hyphae and rustocks. This is one of the symptoms which has been used and abused both, which has been very much used as well as very much abused in homeopathy, especially by the younger generation. But this is red triangular tip of rustocks, phytolacca, and also argentum nitricum. And sometimes also we find sulfur also there, red triangular tip, but it has been very much abused by younger generation. Please do use it when we do actually get this red triangular tip. Everybody come across these symptoms, but we have to keep our eyes open, vision open, and we have to have a clear cut vision what we have to visualize actually. So this is red triangular tip of rustocks. Now this is one of the classical tongues. This is one of the classical tongues. If you can see the black tongue, we can see the blackish tongue. I have one, most probably I have one hyperlink case also here. So this is blackish tongue, which is very much hallmark of Elacasis, but we also find this type of tongue in Lycopodium. We also find this type of tongue in Arsenic album. We also find this type of tongue in Mercurius. So, and many more, many more. But please do not restrict to these medicine which I have pointing out. This is my clinical experience. Please do keep these symptoms. I'll narrate, because of this, I'll narrate this one patient. See, this was hyperpigmentation on the tongue. This lady came to me, 50-year-old lady came to me with hyperpigmentation on the tongue with loss of taste. And when I took the case history, there's a long case history, but I'll just narrate it in one line. Those who are familiar with the Bengali culture, Bengali use multi cuisines, and they are very fond of they are very fond of eating. So this simple lady was a North Indian, and she was in love with a Bengali boy, and ultimately, against the wishes of the family, that boy married this North Indian girl. And after marriage, as per the custom, her mother-in-law started to humiliate on the ground that she doesn't know cooking. Because I am also a North Indian, but presently I am residing in Kolkata for the last 12-13 years. So now I have learned much about the Bengali cuisine and Bengali eating habits. So that mother-in-law used to humiliate that daughter-in-law that you don't know any cooking. You North Indians, you don't know the way how to eat. You don't know, your parents have not taught you. You are the idiot fellows of North Indian. You don't know how to cook. You don't know how to eat. You don't have any culture. And in this way, her mother-in-law started humiliating her. And when that young girl started to narrate these symptoms to her husband, he never lent his ear. His husband never lent his ear. He said that it is your matter. You settle it with my mother. I cannot intervene into it. And out of it, she was not able to reciprocate. Neither she was able to let the symptoms to be known to anybody. And every time she started nurturing that humiliation into her, and ultimately in a lapse of 10 to 12 years, she started developing this black pigmentation on the tongue, and she was prescribed Staphylococcus in zero potency. And if you can see, day by day, if you can see the tongue after prescription of Staphylococcus on this symptom. Here, the patient was not prescribed Elacasis, nor Marxol, nor Arsenic album, but this blackish tongue on the totality upon his mental symptom, she required Staphylococcus, and it was prescribed to her with a very good result as shown to you. Now, moving on to the texture of the tongue. There are different types of textures which we do get every day. See, this is one of the most common type of tongue which we do get. and it is the imprint of teeth. The teeth, but the tongue is so much flabby. It is being impressed by the tongue. It is impressed by the 32 tongues, 32 teeth, and every teeth is making its impression on the tongue, and because of which we are getting this type of imprinted, indented, flabby tongue, which is the hallmark of Rustox, Netromure, Marksol, Lachesis, Podophyllum, and so on, where we get flabby tongue with imprinted. And whenever there is flabby tongue, make it a point, it will be imprinted. And we can also add array of medicines here like hydrestis also. I have just given few of the things. We can find many more medicines in repertory. Repertory is always there to guide us. But I am only trying to emphasize that we have to learn how to recognize these symptoms. Next, if you see, there is a more rounding off. In the previous, if you can see, the edges are very sharp, and in this we can find that edges are very rounded. This is called as scalloped tongue. Scalloped. This is the word used by Boger in his Boger's synoptic key. This is what we call it, scalloping. In our childhood, most of us have done it with a piece of paper. This is called as scalloping of the margins, and this is the thing which is present with calibi and magmure. Scalloped tongue. Scalloped tongue. Next, this is a very, very characteristic tongue. If you can see in the previous pictures, all 4 pictures, if you see 1, 2, 3, 4, all are imprinted, but at the same time, all tongues are very much flabby and large. But if you see these 2 tongues, on the contrary, we find that yes, they are imprinted, but they are not at all flabby. They are not at all flabby. They are a small tongue. They are a small tongue. If you see at the same time, these are the tongues which are filling the whole lot of the oral cavity. Whole lot of the oral cavity is filled up by this tongue. This is a flabby tongue. And because of flabby, a tongue being flabby, it is very natural that it will get imprint of all the teeth. So what we get, that this is a flabby tongue which is getting imprint of the teeth. But here on the contrary, the tongue is very small. If you see, only a small portion of the oral cavity is being occupied by this tongue. The tongue is very small. Even then, it is taking the imprint of teeth. Here, if we get only 2 medicines, that is arsenic album and chelidone. These are only 2 medicines which are imprinted, but they are not flabby. The tongue is not flabby, even then they are imprinted. See, again, this is one of the gems of homeopathic prescribing, and very common tongue which we get, and this is the characteristic tongue of Netromure. This is the characteristic tongue of Netromure, where we get this patchy insular patch on the tongue. If we see, and if you see in this patient, at the same time, if we get the profuse perspiration on the tip of the nose, if we get the profuse perspiration, at the same, this is the characteristic of Netromure even more, when there is perspiration on the tip of tongue with this insular patches. Here also we get the insular patches. This is again what we get this. If we read our Elensky note, this is the line of the Elensky note. Mapped with red insular patches like a ringworm on the side. You can see it is just looking like an ringworm. It is looking like a ringworm on the side of tongue, if you see. So this is the line of Elensky note which we have to inculcate into the younger generation. What do we mean? Map with red insular patches like ringworm on the side of tongue, where we have a whole lot of array of medicines, but hallmark of Netromure. There are arsenic, lachesis, myrrh, nitric acid, taraxacum, and so on. but that is not very much material. What is material? That we have to make our eyes trained. We have to train our eyes. What is the training of the eye is lacking. Training of the eye is lacking. The clinical learning process is lacking. We are turning more to the mechanical side rather than artistic side. This teaching learning process is learning. The clinical learning process has to be inculcated both into the practitioners as well into the learners. Teachers and learners both have to learn simultaneously. So this is geographical tongue of Netrumure. This is again my what you call it, my clinical inputs to homeopathy. If you see leather-like tongue, we have read in Ellen's keynote under the muriatic acid. Muriatic acid, we have learned this leather-like tongue. What is actually leather-like tongue? My or to all my gentle ladies who are there as in participants, if you just press your wallet or your purse in the opposite direction of leather, you will see the leather is getting wrinkled. And to all the gentlemen in this part, as a participant, if you press your belt into the opposite direction, you will see that the leather get wrinkled up. The way the leather get wrinkles up, the same way you will see the tongue here. Both the tongues, if you can see the wrinkling, if you can see the wrinkling, again I can see there is one hyperlink case here. Again, this most probably this is a case of gallbladder stone. So far I remember this lady, the old lady, gallbladder stone. With the C, that tongue is, there is a wrinkling on the tongue, wrinkling on the tongue. There was biliary sludge, not a gallstone. There was sludge with acoustic shadows, and after prescription of, it is written in muriatic acid, but this is my clinical approach, that this is the tongue of pulsatilla. See, this is after a prescription of pulsatilla, there is no biliary sludge. And this is my clinical, it is written in Ellen's keynote that this is the tongue of muriatic acid, but this is my input to homeopathic fraternity, that I have clinically verified this type of tongue many times with pulsatilla. Pulsatilla has this leather-like tongue along with muriatic acid. And I have pulsatilla comfortably, I have used many times. Again, this polished tongue, I need not narrate about this. We do find it in taraxacum and pyrogenum with terebinth, and so all, whole lot of medicine we find it. We find it. All medicines which do produce sepsis, we do find this polished tongue. See, this is again I cannot say how much useful this type of this symptom is to me. The elongated pointed tongue. If you can see all these three pictures, if you can see the tongue is hanging far below the level of chin. I will request all the participants to please pull down your tongue as far as possible, and most of you will find that it lies somewhere between the lower lip and the chin. If you please do, everybody please, it lies somewhere between the lower lip and the chin. Very rarely do we find that tongue hangs down the level of chin. And whenever we do get this symptom, please use lachesis and one more medicine, which is ipecac, which I have not mentioned. The medicines may be many, but please try to learn, because we can clinically verify many more medicines which may be here. So whenever this tongue hangs down the level of chin, please do remember lachesis. And see, this is the level of chin. When the patient pulls down his tongue, it hangs far below the level of chin. Most of the time, the normal level is between the lower lip and the chin. Somewhere in between the is the level of tongue. But here, the level of tongue is far below the level of chin. This is lachesis as well as ipecac. So this is tongue, something about tongue. Yashika, how much time I have, or should I conclude? Yashika, can you hear me? Dr. Yashika, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. We have time. We have time. We have time. You can continue 10-15 minutes more.
Okay, so I can to the far I can continue for the 10 minutes because I have further appointments. So I'll continue for 10 minutes. Okay, so symptom of lips, or rather we can start with. Okay, we'll just do that lips. No problem. So if we see, if we uh, if we see the lips, lower lip, if we can see the center of lower lip. The center of lower lip is cracked. Center of lower lip is cracked. Center of lower lip is cracked. In Allen's keynote, we find it under three medicine. One is natrimure, ammonium carbonicum, and muriatic acid. Hipersulf. Sorry, ammonium carbonicum, hipersulf, and natrium muriaticum. We find this center of lower lip cracked. And I remember this patient, this particular patient was of ammonium car, because along with this lower lip cracked, he had that hemorrhagic, he presented to me for epistaxis, and sometimes also he had hemoptysis. For these two symptoms he presented to me, and with this he had this lower lip crack, and he was prescribed ammonium carbonicum 200, and with a very good result. And this center of lower lip cracked with shiny face. The second patient we can find, and this patient was prescribed natrium muriaticum. So there are many thousands of patients who. This is again Allen's keynote. If we do remember Allen's keynote under sepia, this is the line written here in the under sepia. Lower lip swollen and cracked all over. If you remember. In contrast to natrium mure, hipersulf, ammonium carbonicum, where we find the center of lower lip crack, where we find center of lower lip crack. Here in sepia, we find the lower lip is swollen and cracked all over, So if you can see, the lower lip is cracked all over, not only in the center, but all over the tongue, all over the lip. It is cracked. This is sepia. Under Allen's keynote, if we find that swelling and cracking of lower lip. Now the crack in the angle of mouth. If we see this particular patient, there are medicines where we get that cracks in the angle of mouth. Not only Condurango, please. Not only Condurango. Many times we do prescribe only Condurango, but there are many medicines: nitric acid, macphos, aurantriphyllum, antimonium crudum, Condurango, miserium. Condurango is a great medicine if this crack in the angle of mouth is present, but I have used it when it is associated with one of the symptoms of GI tract, especially if there is malignancy and I do get this crack in the angle of medicine, I do prescribe Condurango. But there are other medicines like nitric acid, macphos, aurantriphyllum, antimonium crudum, Condurango, miserium, which are present for the crack in angle of both the angles of mouth. Now, on the contrary, if we see this first picture, we do get cracks in both the angle of mouth. But if we see this patient, we can see only the right angle of mouth is cracked. For this particular, we get only two medicines, that is mercurius, Merxol, and macphos. If we see the Boger's synoptic key, it is mentioned there, the right angle of mouth is cracked. We get Merxol and macphos there. If we get only right angle of mouth crack. Everything we will find here. All symptoms. When we were students in UG classes, sometimes we do used to think that what a stupid type of symptom is written in our materia medica. Do we get these type of symptoms? But now, after in this 21st year of my homeopathy, I do find that every symptom which is written in Materia Medica, we do get in the clinical practice. Every symptom in our Materia Medica, we do get in our clinical practice. I remember one line of most probably Tulsidas कि सकल पदार्थ यही जग माही करमहीन नर पावत नाही. This was the doha of Tulsidas, most probably. Sakal padarth ehi jag mahi karamheen nar pavat nahi. That every ingredient is present in this universe. Every ingredient which is required for the life is present. Only those who are not willing to work or not willing to search, they are always in this scarcity. Otherwise, who are willing to search for it, who are willing to work for it, they always get whatever is required for their livelihood. Similarly, in homeopathy also, whatever is required for the upliftment of clinical practice, we do get it in our clinical practice, in our clinical word, in our literature. Only thing is that we have to require an eye and an eye opener. We have to have an vision. We have to have a teacher who will make us learn all these symptoms. I am very much thankful to my teachers. I am very much thankful to my patients who have made me learn all these symptoms. All these Elensky note, all these Materia Medica, all this Kent's repertory, these are invaluable guides for the prescription. Cracks in the angle of mouth. Next, if we see pouting, many of us will, those who are very fond of Instagram and Facebook, they usually take their selfie by pouting, with pouted lips. But if the same pouting of lips we get in patient, we have to prescribe many medicines like syphilinum, like phytolacca, like beraitacar. With this pouting of lip, the lower lip is hanging down. In the same fashion as we take selfie, those who are chronic Instagrammer and Facebooker, those they will correlate to my lines that while taking selfie, do we pout our lips? We pout our lips. If the same type of pouted lips we get in our patient, please do remember syphilinum, phytolacca, your beraitacar, and so many pouting lips. These are the words that are there in literature. In Boger Synoptici, we'll find this word, pouting lips or everted lips. In Kent's repertory, there is one rubric, most probably everted lips, if I'm not wrong. See, opposite to everted, opposite to this pouted lips, there is the opposite condition that is called as retracted lips. The lips are retracted backwards, meaning that the margins of lips are very thin. Margin of lips are very thin. Retracted lips. This is the medicine. The medicine for this condition is entim tart, camphor, nux moscata, tabacum, etc. Now, if you see this swollen lips, both upper as well as lower lip are swollen, the medicine is sulfur. If you see the characteristically the upper lip is more swollen, no, lower lip is normal. For this condition, we find calcarea car, beraita car, hypersulf. It is not that I am giving; these are all present in our literature, and patients have shown these symptoms: upper lip swollen, calcarea car, beraita car, hypersulf. Here you can see only the lower lip is swollen. We can see sepia, sulfur, lachesis, phytolacca. So see, both upper as well as lower lip is swollen. If we can see in our Bollywood and Hollywood, Angelina Jolie, or we can see Priyanka Chopra, they have upper and lower lip, provided they have not done that liposuction and what that lip surgery for the upliftment of lips. I don't know. But if we do get that type of lips, that upper and lower lips are swollen, that is sulfur. Only the upper lip is swollen, we find calcarea, beraita, and hypersulf. Only the lower lip is swollen, we find sepia, sulfur, lachesis, phytolacca. If we move on to the teeth, very important. This is the picture which started my journey. This is the picture which started my journey. The teeth decay at the root, whereas the crown is intact. The line of Thuja, which was a you can say the turning point in my life. Turning point in my life, not my book, but the turning point in my life. That is tooth decay at the root, the crown remains sound. This is the line of I remember this is again a case of most probably epilepsy, if I remember. See, this was the case of epilepsy. The EEG report says that there were abnormal awake EEG suggestive of possible seizure disorder. Abnormal EEG. After prescription of Thuja, it shows that normal awake EEG, but does not rule out seizure disorder. So in this patient, after prescription of Thuja, the EEG, which was abnormal, changed into normal awake EEG. If you can see this patient, where you can see the crown portion is intact, but the root portion is decaying. This was the line of Mesothelium. The root is decaying, but the crown is intact. I've tried to enlarge this portion, but it has somehow it is blurring it. But if you can find that close-up of this tooth, if we try to see the close-up of this tooth, if you can see the crown is intact, but the inner portion, the root portion of the teeth is getting decayed. So now, if you can see, the teeth is starting to decay as soon as they appear. This is the well-renowned line of creosotum. The teeth begins to decay as soon as they appear. This is again a very, very important line. If you can see the edges, there is decay nowhere on the tongue. Only the edges of the teeth is decaying. Nowhere else there is decay. And this is a grand characteristic of Staphylococcus aureus. If you read the Elinsky note is Staphylococcus aureus. But if we go to Kent's repertory, we'll find two more medicine here. One is Mesothelium and the second is Thuja. So teeth decaying on the edges, we find three medicines: Staphylococcus aureus, Mesothelium, and Thuja. That is not a big issue. The big issue is that we have to start to recognize what is the decaying at the edges. The edges of teeth is decaying. This is the thing that the medicine is not a big deal. Medicine, knowing the name of medicine is not big deal. The big deal is that we have to recognize. I have more than 50 pictures of same type of decay. I have more than 50 pictures where only the edges is decaying, the whole of the teeth is intact. This is Staphylococcus aureus, Mesothelium, and Thuja. I have tried to give a a meme of this. How if this is the thing, the teeth is decaying on the edges. If you see, teeth is decaying on the edges. We have Staphylococcus aureus, Thuja, and Mesothelium. If the teeth is decaying on the edges, if the teeth is decaying at the root, we have Mesothelium, Thuja. If the tooth is decaying on the edges of the gum, we have Syphilinum. Now moving on to the next picture, what we last said, tooth is decaying on the edges of the gum, where teeth and the gums are meeting. Let us see this picture. If you can analyze all the pictures, what we find that there is decay only the part where gums and teeth are being connected. If you can see all the teeth, if you can see all the tooth of this lady, the teeth is decaying. See, the crown is normal and the root is also normal. If you can see in this picture, the root is also normal, the crown is also normal. The decay is only at the margin where gum and tooth are meeting. So this is the line of syphilinum. If we remember our Elinsky note, I am not going much beyond Elinsky note. If you can see the Elinsky note, teeth decay on the edges of gum and break off. This is the line taken from Elinsky note. And this is the representation of this line. This is the representation of this line. If we don't know what does this line mean, it hardly matters anything. How many times you have mugged up your Elinsky note, it doesn't matter. I remember again, I'll quote from Sanskrit, Pustakam stute vidya parhastagatam dhanam. Samutupanne samakale nacha vidya nachadhanam. I'll again repeat, Pustakam stute vidya parhastagatam dhanam. Samutupanne samakale nacha vidya nachadhanam. My meaning thereby, a knowledge that is only there in the book, it is worthless. The knowledge which is only there in the books, it is worthless. It doesn't cost even a penny. It is worthless. If that knowledge comes into our brain, from the brain, if we can descend up to our eyes, and through our eyes, if we can visualize those symptoms, only then and then it matters. Only then and then it matters. Otherwise, it is not worth of rupees penny. That Elinsky note will only be worth of rupees 50, not more than that. But if we want to convert it into 1 crore rupees, we have to visualize Elinsky note. We have to visualize Elinsky note. Next line of syphilinum, same medicine. If we see, teeth are cupped, teeth are serrated. If you can see, teeth are cupped. If you can see, teeth are cupped. Teeth are cupped. If you can see, teeth are serrated like the edges of the saw. Teeth are serrated like edges of the saw. Again, syphilinum. If you can see the next line of syphilinum, I am quoting 3 lines of syphilinum from Elinsky note. Teeth are dwarfed in size, converge at their tip. Now, if we try to correlate all these, teeth decay on the edges of the gum and break off, are cupped, edges serrated, dwarfed in edge, converged at their tip. This is the whole line of Elinsky note. We have summarized in 3 different types. Teeth decay on the edges of gum, break off. You can see teeth is decaying on the edges and it is breaking off. Then we have seen the teeth is cupped. In this, you can see the teeth is cupped. Here you can see the teeth is serrated. Next, you can see the teeth is dwarfed in size and converged at their tip. These are the 3 lines from syphilinum. And decay, and this is the whole line what is written in Elinsky note. If you can see the whole lot in a 1 slot, the first line, the teeth decay on the edges and break off. They are cupped. The edges is serrated, dwarfed in size, and converged at the tip. Now, I'll cannot hold. There are so many lots of depictions here. I have a whole lot of pictures, but if the organizers permit me, I'll put a halt to this deliberation. And again, once again, I'll thank Dr. Yashika, Dr. Amit Sani, Dr. Vivek Shal, organizers, and definitely one of my friend Manish Jain for giving us this opportunity, to the organizers, to all the participants, and above all, my all patients who have given me this opportunity and who have allowed me to take their pictures and share it with you. And I'll request everybody to make a collection of the symptomatology of Elinsky note, symptoms of Elinsky note at least, and share it with us in a common platform, and let us prepare a picturesque album, let us prepare a picturesque view of Elinsky note, so that the coming generation do not find it difficult to understand Elinsky note and do not find it difficult to recognize it. With this few words, I'll put a halt to my narration, and I'll request Dr. Yashika and Dr. Amit Sahni sir to please take over. Thank you, sir. Thank you giving me this opportunity. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Sir, your audio is not clear.
Sir, your audio is not audible, sir. You're not audible, sir.
Sir, please refresh and join. I think there is connectivity issue.
Yes, am I audible now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So thank you, Alok. Dr. Alok. Yeah, rightly said that BGN publishers, they have provided the hardware for homeopathy in form of books. The profession, the homeopathic fraternity will remain indebted to late Dr. P.N. Jain for his services. The books which are now made available to us today are because of the efforts of late Dr. P.N. Jain and the team at BGN Publishers. Coming to your presentations, you have wonderfully explained the importance of observation in homeopathic practice. We are receiving numerous positive feedbacks regarding your presentation. The illustrative examples with observations on tongues, lips, and teeth with therapeutic hints from our revered teachers was very nicely described. We have enjoyed your session thoroughly, and I thank you for your nice presentation. So thank you, Dr. Alok. Thank you, Dr. Alok. Now it's time to welcome Dr. Mansoor Ali, sir, for this lecture for the second session for today. He will talk on the effective literature review. Dr. Mansoor Ali, KR. He is professor at Government Homeopathic Medical College, Kozhikode, Kerala. He is approved practitioners for the Ministry of the Health in United Arab Emirates. Member Board of Studies of both UG and PG faculties at Karnataka University of Health Sciences. He is PG and PhD guide at Kerala University of Health Sciences. He is the member of the editorial committee on the Health Sciences, a peer-reviewed journal being published by Kerala University of Health Sciences. He was the recipient of Best Teacher Award in 2019 by Kerala University of Health Sciences. Dr. Mansoor Ali took his BHMS and MD from Government Homeopathic Medical College at Calicut and later joined in the same institute in 2006. His website, homeobook.com, provides the largest collection of learning, teaching materials for the medical professionals and provides the highest number of placements in the Ayush systems. This website has a good collection of previous question papers from PSC, UPSC, and PG entrance examinations from all the states of the country. Moreover, his teaching notes are used by students and teachers across the homeopathic medical colleges of India. He has also presented papers in several states, national and international conferences. Around 60 papers have been published in reputed homeopathic journals in India and abroad. He is also the approved practitioner Ministry of Health of United Arab Emirates. He got first rank in Kerala PSC examinations for the post of lecturer MD homeopathy entrance examination by Government of Kerala. He has conducted various workshops, training programs for BHMS students, interns, government medical officers, teachers, and practitioners across India. He is also a visiting lecturer, examiner, question paper setter to many homeopathic institutions and universities. He is also a regular speaker in All India Radio, handling the topic Arogyam Amulyam. He is also the PG and the PhD guide to Kerala University of Health Sciences and member Board of Studies. He has been honored with the National Award of Homeopathy in 2011 for contribution to homeopathic education through web-based learning and teaching. Sir, it's an honor to have you with us. Now I would kindly like you to take over and begin your session. We are eagerly waiting for it, sir.
Yeah, thank you, sir, for the nice words. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You're audible, sir.
Please share my PPT. Okay. Thank
Yes.
you, Dr. Yashika. Okay. So now we'll discuss something interesting about literature review, an integral part of any research. How to conduct a literature review effectively for a postgraduate dissertation or a PhD thesis in simple language. We'll discuss something interesting. Only a few slides are there, so please be with us. So it is surprisingly accurate at the time of giving the proposal. Our intention or our interest or our ambition is like as that on the picture on the left side. But at the end of the postgraduate dissertation or at the end of the PhD, our thesis or dissertation may look like this on the second image. So this is surprisingly or upsettingly accurate, but we have to overcome it. Even though our intention is as on the left image, the ultimate, the goal or we are attaining as on the right image. So don't worry. We will help you in conducting a comprehensive literature review. That is an important part of any research project. Conducting a comprehensive literature review is an important part of any research project. But that is not an easy task. But don't worry, we will definitely help you. We will give you some online tools, some offline tools that will surely help the postgraduate scholars and the PhD scholars. So don't worry, we will definitely help you. Now, what is the purpose of a literature review? That should answer the following: what we already know, and what is lacking, and why the study the problem. That means the rationale or the relevance of the study and what methods to use. These are all the four answers or the questions. The purpose of a literature review. Suppose if you are doing a research on diabetic neuropathy, what we already know about the diabetic neuropathy and what is lacking in the diabetic neuropathy and homeopathy or the management of diabetic neuropathy with the conventional system of medicine. What is lacking? Why the study problem? The magnitude or the relevance of the study, the impact of that particular disease in the community or in the nation. So that's the relevance or the rationale and what methods to use. These are all the things that we are going to answer. So the basic structure of introduction, that's only 3 lines. The first paragraph, introduction to the subject. Introduction to the subjects. Suppose if you are doing a research on the carpal tunnel syndrome and this is homeopathic management. So just to give an introduction to the subject. The next few paragraph, lacunae and controversies about the subject. Suppose the carpal tunnel syndrome, that is not an easily manageable disease by the modern system of medicine. They are usually advising the surgery, but after 3 months of the surgery, the complaint again recur. So the lacunae. And in homeopathy, only few remedies are listed in the repertory for the carpal tunnel syndrome. So lacunae and controversies about the subject. That's the next few paragraph. Last paragraph, therefore, this study was done with the intention of. So this should be the basic structure of an introduction. So first paragraph, introduction to subject. That means the incidence, prevalence, everything come under the introduction. Then next few paragraph, the lacunae and the controversies about the subject, about the homeopathy or about the conventional system of medicine or Ayurvedic system of medicine, the lacunae or the controversies. And the last paragraph, therefore, this study was done with the intention of. This is the basic structure of an introduction. And remember, we are discussing only the nutshell points, so listen to this session very carefully. So always remember, this is not a place to dump everything. Usually in majority of the postgraduate dissertation, the literature review means dumping everything. Suppose if your topic is on the miasm, then the majority of the postgraduate scholars explain the miasm from the time of Hanuman to the modern classical authors. That should not be. But something related to the research only. Your literature review should contain the matters related to the research only. No anatomy, no physiology, no pathology, that is not needed in the literature review. Only the research-related matters that should be in the literature review. And also the academic related activities. So this is not a place to dump everything. Suppose if your topic is on the infection, for example, in the case of chickenpox or any other type of infection, no need to explain about its etiology, its clinical features, or the related things that is mentioned in the practice of medicine, but only the research related matters. This is a place not to dump. This is not a place to dump everything. So this is a method of doing a literature review. Listen to the slide very carefully. On the left side, the specific scheme of our paragraph of the review or the various studies have investigated whether the individuals with asthma are more likely to depress than those without asthma. And while a number of studies have supported this hypothesis, reference 1 to 3, and other investigators, reference 4 to 5, have not found such evidences. On the left side, you can see 5 papers. You downloaded 5 papers. From this 5 papers, you got this much of information, only 3 to 4 lines. So this is the method of doing the literature review. Never copy the paragraph, never copy the article, entire article from other sources to your thesis. But like this, 5 studies, 5 papers you downloaded from the internet, and you have gone through that the entire papers. Then you go to the inference on the right side. Various studies have investigated whether the individuals with asthma are more likely to be depressed than those without asthma. And while a number of studies have supported this hypothesis, you have to give the reference 1 to 3. Other investigators 4 to 5 have not found such evidences. So this is the method of doing the literature review. Never copy the article or never copy the paragraph. You have to rewrite in your own language. So I will give another example. Fever is common in Kerala. That is the findings you got from one scientific paper. So you have to rewrite in your own language to avoid the plagiarism. So you have to rewrite it as Kerala is a place where fever is common in rainy season. Then you have to give the reference. Never copy the same line or never copy the same paragraph from scientific papers. So you have to rewrite in your own language. Then you have to give the reference. Online search. Nowadays, no need of going to your library and sit for long hours or long days or months. Everything is available online. So we will discuss some online tools first. So one of the best thing that is a PubMed Central. PubMed Central. The second one, National Medical Library of India, ERMED. And Intimed.nic.in. It's a peer-reviewed journal published in India. Then MedIn, Indian Medley Centers, www.medin.nic.in. You will get full text articles. Then another interesting area that for online research, online search is that is Cochrane reviews. We will discuss one by one. Then NHS and Google Scholar. So first we will discuss about the PubMed Central. Something unique about the PubMed Central. The thing is that too much of data. Too much of data is available on the internet, but you have to extract the required data only. Now, what is peculiar about the PubMed Central? Remember that contain more than 6.2 million articles on health. 6.2 million articles. You will get everything in the PubMed Central. So this is one of the best and authentic resource for the literature review. More than 6.2 million articles. Now, what kind of database is PubMed? Remember, PubMed is a service of the US National Library of Medicine that provides free access to Medline or NLM database of indexed citations and abstract of medical, nursing, dental, veterinary, healthcare, preclinical science journal articles. Include additional selected life science journals not included in the Medline. So we'll get, suppose if your thesis topic is on hypertension and homeopathy, just take the PubMed search and take the advanced research option, then type the keyword hypertension and homeopathy. So the search in PubMed is something entirely different from that of Google. You have to split your research questions. For example, what role does pain have in sleep disorders? So the key concepts are pain and sleep disorders. Suppose if your topic is on management of obesity with homeopathic medicine. So you have to give the type, search keyword homeopathy on the first box, and on the second box, that is obesity. Suppose if your topic is on hypertension, the relationship between hypertension and obesity. So in the first box, you have to give the keyword hypertension, and then the second word as the obesity. So never type a big line or paragraph in PubMed Central as in the Google search. The search is entirely different. You have to split your topic into your topic of dissertation into 2 or 3 keywords and search in the PubMed. Now, what is a Cochrane database? After the PubMed, the world famous, that is a Cochrane. The Cochrane library is a collection of 6 databases that contain different types of high quality independent evidence to inform healthcare decision making. And a 7th database that provides information about the Cochrane group. So always depend upon the PubMed search first, then followed by Cochrane library. So this is the emblem of Cochrane. And the third one, National Digital Library of India. We need Indian databases also. Probably in in PubMed or at the Cochrane library, more Western articles or researches related to the Western conditions are available. But we need the database of India also. Suppose if your dissertation topic is the suicide rate or the reason for suicide. The reason for suicide in Western countries may be different, entirely different from that of Indian countries. Sorry, the Indian states. So we need database also from India also. So one of the best one, that is a National Digital Library of India. So this is an initiative by HRD and IIT Kharagpur. More than 6.5 million books that is available in National Digital Library of India. And you can read and download books and journals, audios and videos. Remember, just browsing may take years. The URL is ndl.iitkgp.ac.in. So this is one of the best database for Indian researchers. And the second one, Google Scholar. Never search on the Google for the literature review. Always type search on the Google Scholar. You will get research related data only. If you are searching in Google in general, you will get lot of data. It is very difficult to identify or to find out the required precise data. But always search in Google Scholar for research data. In this case also, you have to give keywords, not as searching in Google. Never give the entire line or paragraph for searching in Google Scholar, but you have to give keywords like hypertension, homeopathy, etc., etc. Then another one, US National Library of Medicine, nlm.nih.gov.in. This is also a wonderful website for research database, for especially in the field of biomedical research. So US National Library of Medicine. And the next one, MedInt, National Database of Indian Medical Journals. And this is an initiative by the National Informatics Center. MedInt provide free full text articles published in select Indian biomedical journals indexed in Imprinted or PubMed. So you will get a lot of data related to India. And Intimate, this is another database by the National Informatics Center. That is an Intimate. Then another interesting website, an unavoidable and must-visit website for all the postgraduate scholars and the PhD scholars. That is cdc.gov. You will get the details on any type of diseases or any type of infection, the primary details, I mean the basic details, including the PowerPoint presentations, including the videos, and the incidence and prevalence also. Suppose if you want to find out the incidence of diabetes mellitus in India, just go to CDC, you will get the exact data, the prevalence, etc. So this is one of the best website for the postgraduate scholars, that is the cdc.gov. Then Medline plus Gov, that's another website that may be useful for the postgraduate dissertation. Then you will get thousands of free medical journals in the freemedicaljournals.com website, freemedicaljournals.com. Now, some website where you can find many of the homeopathic research database. So, in addition to the PubMed or Cochrane library, in PubMed, thousands of articles related to homeopathy is available. Remember, thousands of articles, research articles related to homeopathy that is available in PubMed, Cochrane library, and Google Scholar. So, in addition to that, we may find some homeopathic research databases, some specific website where you will get precise database on homeopathic research. So the first one, Archive on Homeopathy by Central Council of Research in Homeopathy. Remember the website address is aohindia.in, not a CCRH website, aohindia.in. This is an archive on the homeopathy research by the Central Council of Research in Homeopathy. Then another website, ccrhindia.nic.in. You will get the entire findings or the research database or the database done by the Central Council of Research in Homeopathy in this website. Then another two websites for the proving information, that is the proving.info and proving.com. These are the two websites. You will get the proving details from the time of Hahnemann up to the modern masters. Then HRI, Homeopathic Research Database by the Sir of Aurora. The website URL is hriresearch.org. You will get thousands of research papers published specifically on homeopathy in various sectors. Then IPRH, Research Database, researchinhomeopathy.org, that's a database. That's another good website. You will get specific data on homeopathic research. Then NCH Research Library, that's a Western website, homeopathycenter.org/research. So always remember this type of website where you will get specific data on homeopathy. Then the database of the Carstens Foundation. First one, Core Home. In the Core Home database, you will find 1,383 clinical trials on homeopathy. If you would like to have access on the clinical trials on homeopathy, just go to the Core Home database. Get more than 1,383 clinical trials in homeopathy. Then another one, Home BRX. In Home BRX database, you will get 2,418 experiments on basic research in homeopathy. Remember, a lot of research are already done in homeopathy, but majority of the homeopaths are unaware about it, and the critics are also unaware about the research database of homeopathy. So, Core Home and Home BRX. Then you will, I think you are familiar with our website homeobook.com. We have a separate section for the homeopathic research, medical homeopathic research. Then another website you will get a database or the link to the research articles. There's a Dr. nancymalik.wordpress.com, an Indian basic website. You will get database on various sections of the homeopathic research. Then IJRH. This is the only peer-reviewed journal or indexed journal in homeopathy in India. IJRH, Indian Journal of Research in Homeopathy. IJRH.org. This is the only indexed journal in homeopathic journal in India currently. Then another website, that is www.scielo.br. You will get a lot of information on the already done researches in homeopathy. Then the Technical Chamber of Homeopathy, the Medical Council of State of Sao Paulo, have the scientific evidence for homeopathy available online and in printed edition of the Scientific Journal of the Sao Paulo Homeopathic Medical Association. So that's available in the URL revista.aps.org.br. That's a very good database on the scientific evidence for homeopathy. Then Ayush Research Portal. It's a wonderful website by the Ministry of Ayush. The URL is ayushportal.nic.in. So on the top you can see Ayurveda, Yoga, Naturopathy, Unani, Siddha, Homeopathy, Swarapa, etc. In homeopathy, more than 2,365 research articles are already published. You will get details on homeopathic research in clinical research, preclinical research, drug research, or fundamental research. So thousands of articles are listed in the ayushportal.nic.in, purely an Indian database of research in homeopathy and other Ayush system. So please visit this website, ayushportal.nic.in. Now, there are good homeopathic softwares are available that will definitely help in the literature review. I think you are all familiar with this softwares like the Radar Opus, companies, Homoeopathy, Vision, etc. You can utilize for the literature review, effective literature review. Suppose if your literature is on the topic of research is on hypertension and homeopathy. So if you want to extract the entire materia medica by a single click, you can utilize the softwares like Radar Opus, Complete Dynamics, Homoeopathy, or Vision, etc. So this is one of the database that is available in the Homoeopathy. See on the bottom, save as repertory, statistics, thesis, print, add to favorites. Suppose if your topic is on diabetes and homeopathy, Just search on homoepathy as diabetes and homeopathy. You will get an entire database of diabetes and homeopathy as regarding to homeopathic literature. Then just click on the thesis button. Your entire literature review is converted into a thesis. That is some unique feature that is available in the homeopathy for the postgraduate scholars and PhD scholars. So you can utilize this type of softwares. Then we already discussed about the surface web. That is a Bing, Google, Wikipedia, etc. are considered as the surface web. But there is a deep web and dark web also. The surface web is sufficient for the postgraduate scholars, but a deep web that is required for the PhD scholars in homeopathy or other system of medicine. So what is meant by the deep web search? So the entire surface web, like the Google, Wikipedia, or Bing, Yahoo, etc., only amount to about 20 tetrabytes of information. That means 5% of the information available for the open search. Only 5% that is available in the Google, Bing, and Yahoo. But the deep web search that occupies about 7.5 petabytes of information, or just around the 95% of the total. So these are all some websites you can utilize for the deep web search. That means jester.org, there is a jester database, then archive.org, hosti.gov, science.gov, that's a gateway of science info provided by the US government agency, then kff.org, nejm.org, that's a leading medical journal with the full text of past issue available online. So these are all some databases for the deep web search in addition to the PubMed, Cochrane Library, or the Google. So always remember, dear students, always back up your data, your thesis data or dissertation data in OneDrive, Dropbox, or the Google Drive. Always back up your data, either in OneDrive or in Dropbox or Google Drive. You have to create a folder. Otherwise, you may be disappointed by a virus attack in your system or in the laptop or in your mobile phone. So together for a better and academic research excellence. So please subscribe to our channel for more videos like this also. Then if you have any questions, you can ask related to the literature review. And we have discussed only the nutshell points related to the literature review, how to conduct a better literature review online. Nowadays, no need to visit your library and sitting for a long hours. You can get everything online by a single mouse click. And if you have any doubt, you can ask. And this is a precise presentation only, not going into detail.
Thank you, sir. It's an honor for us to have you with us. Your website, homeobook.com, has been a savior for many of us, and all the PG students, they are using the websites. It's a very good database. And your explanation on the topic of effective literature review was excellent. You have detailed every aspect of the literature review, and I expect that the PG students will benefit from it in the preparation of their dissertation works. So now we are at the end of our day 1 session. Dr. Yasika, do we have questions? We have Dr. Alok with us and Dr. Mansoor sir with us.
Yes, sir, we have questions.
Yes.
I'll just tell you.
Yes, please.
Sir, there was a question. What for Dr. Alok, sir? There is a question. Is he with us?
Yes, Dr. Alok, I can see. Dr. Alok.
Yes, sir.
Yes, yes, he is with us.
Sir, there is a question for you from Dr. Sakshi. What is the difference between this and decay at roots?
This, what do you mean by, first my question, what do you mean by this?
I
don't
think
know.
it is,
I think she is asking about the case you already discussed.
I think it is regarding the serrated teeth, Dr. Alok, and the decay at the root.
Most probably that will be decay at the edges of gum and decay of root.
Yes.
Most probably. So if we see that picture, in the picture of Thuja, if we see, the edges as well as the root was decayed. Whereas in the other picture of Syphilinum, where I have showed, only the decay was at the edges. The root was intact as well as the crown was intact. Only there was decay at the margins, at the place where gum and tooth were attached. There was only decay at that part. This is the difference, Dr. Yakita.
Thank you, sir. There is another question. I think lower lip cracked all over, not center at all. Is sepia. Okay, this is an answer. Any book which will elaborate Allen's keynotes?
No, my teacher and one of my friend, Dr. Sumit Paliwal, they have tried to prepare a picturesque view on the basis of miasmatic, Dr. Shomendu Adhikari sir and one of my friend, Dr. Sumit Paliwal. They have prepared one picturesque view of miasmatic approach. And now I am trying to make a picturesque view of Allen's keynote. Let us see in the coming future if I am able to prepare it. I have around 10,000 plus pictures of different symptoms of Allen's keynote, but I think it will require near about 50,000 plus symptoms to make a complete picturesque view of Allen's keynote. Let us see if I have appeal to make an appeal for generous donations of pictures. The patient, if they allow me to publish them, so we can make it more quickly. This is all.
Thank you, sir. That's so great. I want to request the audience to please put your questions in the chat box if you have any, from Dr. Mansoor Ali sir or Dr. Alok Mishra sir. Any queries, sir? I think there are no more queries because everybody is commenting that literature review was very much easily understandable and superb webinar. Only comments we are getting. Excellent explanation. Session, many comments only, no questions. There is a question from Dr. Nishtar. Please, sir, explain about telemedicine. For Mansoor Ali, sir, it is the question. Can you just something about telemedicine?
That's about the telemedicine, this question. And this topic is entirely different from the literature review, but I will try to answer it. This telemedicine is nothing but treating patients from across the globe. Nowadays, it is a need of the hour. Everybody should practice the art of telemedicine so that you can treat patients across the globe by simply sitting at your home with the help of an internet or a laptop. So for that, we need a website and some other tips and some other search engine optimizations and the listing in the major search engines like the Google, Yahoo, Bing, etc. So that we can discuss at another time. That's a big topic, the telemedicine concept, the online consultation. And nowadays, many of the new generation doctors realized that it is very difficult to survive with the limited number of patients from our local area. Because there are a lot of doctors from other systems of medicine and also from the homeopathic system of medicine. So it is very difficult to survive with that limited number of patients from our local area. So we need to practice the art of online consultation or the telemedicines. We'll discuss in detail about that in another webinar. And another question, how many journal article reference needed in literature review in MD Home? At least 100. That is our criteria by our university. At least 100 journal references for a postgraduate dissertation. That's a question by Pranesh Kumar Singh.
Thank you so much, sir. Any other queries? I'll just check YouTube also if we have any questions. Sir, there was a question for Dr. Alok from Dr. Nitin Roy. That child also had decayed teeth with cupping. Why can't we prescribe Syphilinum in such cases?
See, there is one thing I have already said that whatever picture and whatever medicines I have shown, it doesn't mean that it is a thumb rule that every time we see this objective symptoms, you have to prescribe whatever medicine. I have 1, 2, 3 medicines that I have narrated. It has to be well fitted into the totality, only then and then we have to prescribe. That's why I have narrated one case where we have that blackish tongue. Even then I have not prescribed lacasis because it didn't fit it into the totality. I am again, please take a word of caution here, that whatever observation, whatever objective symptoms I have shown here, and whatever 1 or 2 medicines I have shown as if indicative to those objective symptoms, it is not a thumb rule that every time this objective symptom will be shown, we have to prescribe those 1 or 2 medicines. Definitely, if this objective symptoms and medicine fits into the totality of the symptoms, only then and then we have to prescribe. Please take it a word of caution here. It doesn't mean that every time we have to, as a thumb rule, we have to prescribe that medicine. So definitely the totality should also match. That's why Thuja or Civilinum, whatever was the medicine, was prescribed. Okay, Shikani, any more?
So I'll just take, wait. There is a question from for Dr. Mansoor, sir. Please suggest any website from where we can get epidemiology or prevalence rate of certain diseases in India.
Yeah, that's you can mainly get from the CDC website, cdc.org, that we already discussed. So that's a very good website for the incidence and prevalence of the various diseases across the globe. Everything is available in CDC, especially the incidence, prevalence, and other databases. Another question by Dr. Muhammad Nishtar. Any book for successful practice? So start with the Borix Materia Medica and this Cancer Repertory. That is sufficient for the beginners. Then you can read other books. Lot of books are already available with the BGN publishers. You can purchase from them.
So which book is best for Materia Medica, Dr. Alok, sir? Sir, your audio is off. Sir, audio off.
Sorry. I will say that every book is good for clinical practice. Only requirement for good practice is an open eye and an eye opener and a good OPD. Every book is very good. An eye opener is required and an open eye is required to visualize what is happening near and dear with you. An open eye is the most essential part of a good prescribing. Every book is very good. Ellen's Note, as Mansoor said, Ellen's Note, your Borix Materia Medica, your Kent's Repertory, every book is very good. Only thing is that we have to visualize those symptoms. We have to visualize the symptoms. We require a teacher who will open our eyes. What do that actual symptoms mean? Every day, I will tell you, I've been practicing for so many years, but every day I used to understand 4 to 5 new symptoms. So now, as of now, I don't have a classroom teaching. I'm not getting any classroom teaching, but every day I'm learning from my patients. So the best part of the homeopathic prescribing is that we learn every day from our patients. And the patients are the best book. I don't know, but for me, the patients are the best book, and every book is very good. But an open eye is required to read those books. Thank you, Yashika.
Thank you so much, sir. There is another question from Dr. Arul. Is there maximum reference limit for PG dissertation?
So no such a reference limit for the PG dissertation. You can use n number of research findings, but that should be genuine. That is only criteria. No limitation for the PG dissertations.
Thank you so much, sir. I think we have no more questions.
Yes, okay.
So, Dr. Sahani sir, we don't have any questions now, I think.
Thank you, Dr. Jessica. So we are now at the end of day one. I thank both our speakers for a wonderful deliberation on their respective subjects. It was an honor to have both of you with us. Our participants, mostly PG scholars from the different colleges of our country, have surely benefited from your lectures. So I thank you, and we look forward to hear from you again. We had a wonderful session with Dr. Alok. We are still waiting for some of his more deliberations. His lecture was not complete, so we'll look forward to have with you again. And Dr. Mansoor Ali sir, you have lots to offer to our PG students. So thank you so much, sir. So now,
Dr. Amit sir, I would like to thank Dr. Mansoor sir, because
yes,
we had been using his website when we were a student way back in 2000, and even before that we had website milima.com, if I'm not wrong, sir, and we were using his website Homoeopathy when Google was also not so much enriched, and he has given to the at least to the competitive examination, he has given so much. And at this outset, we'll thank you, sir, for your guidance and submission to the homeopathic facility. Thank you, sir.
I also want to thank sir because it's very helpful, and seriously, every solution you want to get is on Homeobook. So thank you so much, sir.
so thank you all.
Welcome,
Now I think we can wind up, and we wait for the day 2. We'll start again. We'll meet again with 2 new wonderful speakers, and we'll continue the session from tomorrow at 11 o'clock. So thank you all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for giving this opportunity. Okay, welcome.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much, sir.